Is Carmen and Michael?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got the document for you, Carmen and Michael. And Ms. Lazar is here. I'm going to ask Carmen and Michael to please raise your right hand. And folks, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please lower your hand. Ms. Lazar, you are welcome to make a record with testimony.
Thank you. This is in re the marriage of Carmen Crocco and Michael Crocco, docket number 20D643. My name is Cynthia Lazar, appearing remotely on behalf of the petitioner, also appearing remotely. Respondent's pro se appearance was filed on May the 19th, 2020, and the respondent is also present this afternoon remotely. Judge, you should have in your court file the stipulation, a filed stipulation for an uncontested hearing signed by both parties, and the filed agreed consent to prove it by remote access signed by both parties. And I have tendered to the court a proposed judgment for dissolution of marriage with the marital settlement agreement, the state of Illinois certificate, and Judge, there are no children.
Thank you. And the court does have those documents. You are welcome to proceed with testimony.
Carmen, please state your full name.
Carmen Christine Crocco.
And Carmen, you are the petitioner in this matter,
Yes.
and you've been a resident in the state of Illinois for 90 days immediately preceding today. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you were married on October 20th, 2001 in Elburn, Illinois, and the marriage was registered in Kane County, Illinois. Is that correct?
Yes.
No children were born to you and your husband, Michael. No children were adopted, and you are not now pregnant. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. You and Michael have lived separate and apart for a continuous period of not less than 6 months. Is that correct?
Yes.
And irreconcilable differences have caused an irretrievable breakdown of your marriage, correct?
Yes.
And although you attempted reconciliation, those efforts at reconciliation were unsuccessful, correct?
Yes.
And any future attempts at reconciliation would be impracticable and not in the best interest of your family, correct?
Yes.
Now, you and Michael have entered into a settlement agreement, which was mediated with mediator Jennifer Cunningham Beeler, correct?
Yes.
And you and Michael are both asking the court to grant a dissolution of marriage based upon the terms of your mediated agreement, correct?
Yes.
Your agreement provides that both you and Michael are waiving any claim of maintenance against one another, correct?
Yes.
And Carmen, you understand that in waiving maintenance today, you cannot return to this court or any other court at any time and request maintenance. You understand that, correct?
Yes.
Your agreement recites that, or addresses rather, the residence and the primary care of your rescue dog, correct?
Yes.
And following entry of judgment, you and Michael will each be solely responsible for your individual healthcare costs, correct?
Yes.
Carmen, you will retain ownership and all cash value in your universal whole life policy with Pacific Life, correct?
Yes.
And Michael will retain ownership and all cash value in his universal whole life policy with John Hancock, correct?
Yes.
And you and Michael will each retain your own long-term care policies, correct?
Yes.
Your agreement recites that you and Michael are the owners of the marital residence, which is commonly known as 2246 North Essex Lane in Round Lake Beach, correct?
Yes.
And you and Michael have agreed that Michael will retain the residence as his sole property and pay to you, Carmen, the sum of $52,246 as your equity interest in the property, correct?
Yes.
And that payment amount will be reduced by 1/2 of the refinance closing costs, correct?
Yes.
And once you've received your payment, you have agreed to execute a quitclaim deed transferring your interest in the property to Michael. That is your agreement, correct?
Yes.
And also your agreement addresses the issue of occupancy of the property as well as payments for various costs associated with the property, correct?
Yes.
Carmen, you will retain the 2016 Infiniti vehicle Michael will retain the 2016 Subaru vehicle, and you've each agreed to be solely responsible for all costs associated with your own vehicles, correct?
Yes.
You're each going to retain any bank accounts in your individual names, correct?
Yes.
And Carmen, you will receive your Edward Jones IRA as your sole property, correct?
Yes.
Michael will be receiving his 401k as his sole property, correct?
Yes.
And Michael has an IRA with Edward Jones, and your agreement provides that you, Carmen, shall receive 25% of this account, and Michael shall receive 75% of this account per the closing balance amount of the account at the end of the day today, correct?
Yes.
And you both agreed to work with a professional broker so as to effectuate an IRA rollover. You don't want to incur any unnecessary taxes or penalties, correct?
Correct. Yes.
All right. There are 2 health savings accounts, and Michael will be retaining both accounts, correct?
Yes.
You've each agreed to be solely responsible for any debt in your individual names, correct?
Yes.
And you are asking the court to grant you leave to return to your maiden surname, which is spelled Becerra, should you decide to do so now or at some future date, correct?
Yes.
All right. You've retained my services based upon the terms of what we call a limited scope retainer, correct?
Yes.
You understand that my services were provided to prepare pleadings, file the case, and appear with you today, and for no other purpose, correct?
Yes.
All right. Did you voluntarily enter into this agreement?
Yes.
No one has forced you or coerced you into signing. Is that correct?
Yes.
I have no further questions for my client, Your Honor.
Thank you. And do you have any questions for Mr. Crocco?
Very briefly, Your Honor. Please state your name.
Michael Anthony Crocco.
You were present in court this afternoon remotely during your wife's testimony?
Yes.
And did you hear her testimony?
Yes.
And if I were to ask you the same questions that I asked of your wife, would your answers be substantially the same?
Yes.
And you are waiving your right to receive maintenance per the terms of this agreement, correct?
Yes.
You will understand that in waiving maintenance today, you cannot return to this court or any other court and request maintenance. You understand that?
Yes.
And you understand further that I do not represent you in this matter.
Yes.
And you understand that at all times you've had the right to retain your own attorney, correct?
Yes.
And you have voluntarily entered into this agreement?
Yes.
No one has forced you or coerced you into signing these documents.
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. The court finds it has subject matter jurisdiction and personal jurisdiction over the parties. They were married on October 20, 2001 in Kane County, Illinois. They've been separated for at least 6 months. At least one of them has lived in Lake County for 90 days before filing the petition. No children were born or adopted to their relationship. Petitioner is not pregnant. Court finds it's been proven that irreconcilable differences have caused an irretrievable breakdown of the marriage, and efforts at reconciliation would be impracticable and not in the best interest of the family. Court finds the parties have entered into a written marital settlement agreement, which the court has reviewed. Court finds the property settlement is not unconscionable, and the division of marital property and debt and non-marital property and debt is fair and equitable and memorialized in the marital settlement agreement. Court finds the parties have agreed to waive any claim of maintenance as to the other. That waiver is not unconscionable. Petitioner may, but is not required, to resume the use of her maiden name of Becerra if and when she so chooses. Anything else, folks?
No,
No,
Your Honor.
sir.
What I'm doing now is I'm finalizing the agreement in this case, and I'm entering judgment for dissolution of marriage. That completes the process of divorce for each of you. You will be mailed a copy of the judgment by the clerk. Good luck to each of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
And you can just, it's Cynthia Lazar, her info's in there. I've never heard of that dog. Jack Burton.
Does it have a dog?
Really? I haven't seen it. I'm a dog.
Yeah, I mean, I heard of Jack Russell Terrier.
Yeah. Huh.
And the dog is a Jack Burton, parentheses, mixed breed rescue dog.
Mixed breed.
Yeah, the Jack Burton, parentheses, mixed breed rescue dog. Yeah,
Now I gotta look.
yeah.
I know
Now-
my husband and I got a divorce, we would have had a problem.
Here's what's weird also. In geez, I hope that's not the name of the dog, because it says Jack Burton dash care and expenses. Mike and Carmen agree that Mike will keep the Jack Burton, parentheses, mixed breed rescue dog at his residence, with Carmen having visitation with Jack. I don't understand. Huh.
You know, nothing, I'm not finding anything
Oh.
from the American Kennel Association.
Funny. May he rest in peace. John Phillips, Kathy is his wife, widow, is an animal lover,
Yeah.
rode the horses all the time. They also had a dog. Let's just say it was Kathy's dog, not John's. Or as John used to refer to the dog as a Jack Russell terrorist. And I never asked him about this, but he would refer to, I just assumed the dog was a hair more energetic than was John's preference. And,
That's the breed, yeah,
well, it's a terrier,
right.
but, so maybe that's, I tell you what, maybe that's just a name. Because I've never heard, but it was so similar to Jack Russell
Yeah.
that I just assumed it was something I hadn't heard of. Do you have any dogs at home?
No, I got a pass like 3 years ago. We haven't gotten back on that horse. We've been really tempted, but
But easy.
how about you?
Yeah, we have a American. Wait a minute.
Everything's coming up with Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, was that the name? Maybe that's
That must have been his character or something.
in Big Trouble in Little China. Goofy action movie where supposed hero Jack Burton is a lovable idiot who understands everything about what's going on. Oh, I can imagine a terrier being.
So that's why they named it that, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a American Staffordshire Terrier pit bull.
Yeah.
Just. I have a bazillion pictures of the dog and the cat together. It's probably not the best, thing in the world, but just saying. Now that's the dog and the cat.
Adorable. Who, did you get the dog first? Because the cat had surgery. It looks like.
Yeah, very, very recently.
Oh, that's
No, the
recent.
cat's 16, dog's
Oh,
12.
wow. Oh, wow.
So that's what they.
They're adorable.
They're so cute, they even match colors.
I know. Now that, believe me, was not intentional. I mean, the cat, her son picked up the cat, tiny, literally fit in his pocket,
Oh,
and that was 16 years ago.
wow.
And then when Tiny was about 4, Derek's 32 now.
Yeah.
But anyway, about 12 years ago, he just begged my wife to be able to get a dog, and thank God she didn't listen to me, who was only dating her at that point. She said, yes, you can, because everybody was like, how can you put a dog in a townhome?
Yeah.
Especially a pit bull with a cat named Tiny, who was very timid. But bottom line is,